Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. So if you guys want to take a seat, we'll get started soon. All right, everyone. I know we said put your phone down, but please sign in with this QR code in a second. So if you are a new member, this QR code is for you. If you're a returning member, this one is for you. And then at the end, there's going to be an extra credit one. If you're coming for class, that'll be when we're all done. These ones. Great. We have a few announcements just to start everything off. First of all, it's great seeing you all here. Thank you so much for coming. I know last week we talked about our regional conference that's coming up next week, Thursday and Friday. Thursday, the 6th, is our social. So it's going to be at the Community Engagement Center. Does this sound, guys? Or is it just me? Know how to fix that, but I'll keep going. So Thursday is a social at the Community Engagement Center right by Walmart. There's going to be a ton of fun games. We also have some virtual reality sets to go along with our theme of accelerating into the metaverse. Then there's going to be free pizza, a cash bar. You'll get to socialize with all the other chapters that are coming from around the country. And then Friday is our big competition day. If you guys have not signed up yet, please use this QR code. If you're not sure of what the competitions are, look on our website online and you'll be able to read those descriptions and figure out which one's best for you. But if you guys have any questions, please let me know. But we're super excited. We're gonna need a lot of volunteers for it, but it's gonna be a great weekend.
All right, and then it's time to announce our general members of the week. These are some new members that we have just noticed getting very involved in their divisions, and we just want to recognize that. So the first one from sales is Gracie Hughes. CMU is Alana Lewis. From digital marketing division, we have Laura Wagner. Social impact is Alexis Johnson. And then for AMA is Justin Stengel. Congratulations to everybody. And then we just wanted to recognize last week's CMU Day winners. These three ladies, Leah, Peyton, and Jamie, designed this graphic last week, and it was chosen as the winner. So at the end, we'll have you girls come pick your prizes, but we're gonna roll in with this. But congratulations, everybody. And then moving right along, Emily and Margot are not here today, but they are two AMA members that are on the soccer team, and they are playing, they have a Play for a Cause game, and it is the Hidden Opponent, which is all about mental health. So they're hosting a fundraiser Saturday, October 15th at 6, and they also have a game that night. So we're all gonna be there playing bags, spike ball, food and drinks will be there. You can scan this QR code if you're interested in donating, or if you'd love to attend, we'd love to have you there as well. Take a picture so you don't forget. All right, and we are now turning it over to our panel.
Thank you very much, Avery. I'm Dan Herlash. This is awful loud. I have to talk really low, like whisper. Do we have a volume control on this? Okay. Anyway, hi, I'm Dan. That's better. I'm Dan Herlash, lecturer at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater here and advisor for the Sales Corps. And we have these programs throughout the year, and this is the first one. So I want to thank our attendees here, our partners. Do we have Diversatek up on WebEx yet? Okay, awesome, good, welcome. So anyway, this is all about healthcare or marketing and selling in the healthcare industry. And I'm just gonna ask a quick question, and you don't have to raise your hands because of HIPAA, but how many of you have ever been to a doctor? How many of you ever been in a hospital besides your birth? How many have ever had surgery? Okay, how many have ever been to a dentist, an eye doctor? Okay, these people are very involved. Those are their customers in the long run, okay, or manufacturers of equipment that work with those customers. And it's obviously a growing field because in today's world, I'm a baby boomer and we're getting pretty old. And there's a lot of us. And there's more of us than there are of you. And that means healthcare is becoming really taxed, and it's critical, and it's a growing business. Plus, technology is exploding. We saw what happened with COVID and how companies jumped up and came up with new drugs and vaccines and all kinds of different techniques, put together respirators and ventilators and do all kinds of things, produce more masks very quickly. We have a very robust health industry in the United States. So this is a great area to get involved in, a fantastic area. So we have some guests here, and I would like Harrison Henry to introduce a couple of them, if he would, first.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Harrison Henry. I'm the co-sales president, and I just had the privilege and honor here to introduce you to our great folks, great partners here who are representing their companies. It's awesome. Glad. Thank you, first of all, for being here. Since I'm down this end, I will go ahead and start with Prent. Prent Thermoforming. We have Tyler and Taylor here today. For those of you who don't know, Taylor is just graduated last year, so so did Tyler. That's right. Yes, sorry, Tyler. But we're very happy to have you both back here with us today. But Prent Thermoforming, great company. I'm their ambassador, so they have opportunities for full-time positions, and basically kind of what they do. I don't want to steal the thunder for them, but they do thermoforming, so packaging in the medical area and many different areas as well. So it's a really interesting industry and a great company to work for. Moving down the line to their sister organization, we have Mr. Jay Jensen here today with us. And Goex is, again, they are one of the biggest suppliers for Prent. And they really work hand in hand, a great mesh there, also a wonderful company. And then I believe we also have up on virtually here with us today, we have Brooke, and looks like Amanda's joining us as well today from Diversatek. So welcome, thank you for being here. And both Both Brooke and Amanda, great people. Had the privilege of working with them here the last couple of years, and down with Diversatek. They are a medical device company, and they specialize in gastroenterological devices and sales surrounding that. So they have internship possibilities as well as full-time positions. And of course, last but not least, we also have Henry Schein with us here today with Ashley. So thank you also all for being here, and I will turn the panel over to you all, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Harrison. Nice work. Okay, so I guess one of the things we like to do first is we've allocated some time for each company to put up a presentation and talk about what you do and let the students know what you do. So who do we have on tap first, Andy? All right, who wants to go first? Oh, I saw Brooke raise her hand. Oh, that's just my bad eyes. Okay. Anyway, Brooke, would you mind telling us all about Diversatek and Sunlight? We can't hear you right now. Hold on. We got you muted.
Okay, here we are.
There you
Can you
go.
hear me?
Oh, you're good. You bet.
Okay. Do you need me to share my screen or do you have it pulled up? Andy?
I know. Well, we have it pulled up. Yeah, we
Oh,
do
you
have
do?
it
Oh.
pulled up.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Well, thank you all for allowing us to join you virtually. As Harrison eloquently introduced, we are Diversatek. And how do I? Oh, can you switch the slide? Okay, and so just giving a bit of an introduction on myself, I know many of you who've had the opportunity to be with the sales program or AMA have had the honor of meeting me and me the honor of meeting you, but I'm our Director of Human Resources here. I was once in your shoes, while it was quite a few years ago, started out as a nursing home administrative student, HCAD major, turned into sales, enjoyed sales, and had the opportunity to do sales within Diversatek and transition into a leadership opportunity into the HR role, and now selling Diversatek and selling our opportunities. Next slide, please. So who are we? Diversatek is a global multi-platform healthcare solutions manufacturing company, specifically two separate business divisions. We have our healthcare division, Diversatek Healthcare, and we have our contract services division, which is Sunlight Plastics, both operating on their own independently. Next slide, please. So what we do, the healthcare division is a little bit different, where we focus in on manufacturing products, diagnostic and therapeutic, for gastrointestinal devices. This ranges from motility testing in the esophagus, measuring the acid level in the esophagus, to esophageal dilators, opening up constricted esophagus, or to endoscope care, anything that could really be used to clean an endoscope for procedures. And in Sunlight Plastics, where we do our contract manufacturing, we contract manufacture and we make custom medical grade tubing based off our customer specifications. Next slide. So our customers, they're a little bit different from each business division. At Diversatek Healthcare, we're focusing in on contacting hospitals, operating rooms, and surgery centers that are focused in on the GI needs. At Sunlight Plastics, our customers are different, where we're contacting medical device companies, and there we're contacting C-suite level executives, purchasing departments, engineering departments, anyone that can help make a decision, a buying decision within a medical device company. Next slide, please. So some examples of our products. So at the healthcare side, it's really more, as you've probably inferred, a clinical sale. We're contacting nurses, physicians, nurse managers, purchasing departments. We have, as I mentioned, different products relating to endoscope care. So sponges, brushes, pads. We go up to balloon dilators, our Viper product, and then more recently, our MyView product, really testing mucosal integrity in the esophagus. And as far as Sunlight Plastics, where we're focusing in on more of a traditional B2B sale, that's medical grade tubing. And it can come in well over 92 different variables, ranging from different diameters, wall thickness, whether it's bonded, whether it's a wire guided tube. There's a variety of different ways and shapes that we can make to complement our customers' products. Next slide. So our locations for Diversatek Healthcare we're located in Milwaukee, downtown Milwaukee. That happens to be our corporate headquarters as well. Diversatek also has our technical research and training center in Highlands Ranch. That's more of where our diagnostic equipment is manufactured. And then on the contract services side, Sunlight Plastics, we have locations in Germantown, Wisconsin, and then also in Wires Cave, Virginia. Next slide, please. So if you're thinking about a career in medical sales, we have a wonderful opportunity with our healthcare division in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We do have a medical device sales summer internship that's open. We're looking for 2 eager sales students who want to give medical sales a shot. We have the position posted live on Handshake, and if you're interested, we encourage you to apply. Next slide, please. And if you're wanting just to, I guess, vet out some questions, Amanda is a great resource, both Amanda and myself. And I've just listed Amanda's contact information here. Whether you have questions about the internship, about our location, anything, there are no silly questions. We encourage you to reach out to Amanda. Next slide, please. And then you can also join us on social media. Diversatek Careers is a great place to kind of check out a little bit into our company culture. I know that's so important for so many. You can get a little bit of an insider glimpse into who we are. Next slide. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So that gives you a real good overview of a very small niche in the healthcare, a very defined niche in the healthcare industry, 2 different niches really. So our next panelist is, well, who do we have up next here? Okay, Goex? Or Prent. Okay. So our next group here is Prent, and we have 2 alum. We have Taylor Shaw and Jay Jensen, both recent grads, as you heard, from UW-Whitewater, who are, I understand, are rocking it. So go right ahead.
Thank you, Dan. So just to clarify, Jay Jensen's with Goex, our sister company. I'm here with Tyler, my coworker. So yes, I am an alumni.
Tyler only had Prent on his jacket. You know, how could I make that mistake?
That's all right. Yes, so going out of graduation, I did start with Prent full time. I did start my training earlier on, going in every other Friday just to kind of onset that training process and kind of hit the ground running once I started full time. Do you want to?
So very similar to Taylor, I graduated last year. I was in the management program, so that's probably why Dan doesn't remember me. I only had 1 class, but so I started as a sales rep about a month before Taylor did. So I'm now the full-time Mid-Atlantic Territory sales rep. So basically I cover Ohio out through the Carolinas, and we work with, just a little background, we work with all medical device manufacturers to package their devices. So they'll bring their devices to us and say, hey, we need to package that. Everything we do, and Taylor will get into this, is custom. So we can kind of talk about that going forward.
Thank you. All right. So since our founding in 1967, Prent Corporation has grown tremendously. We have grown to be the world's largest thermoformer, specializing in providing custom thermoform solutions for medical device manufacturers. So we specialize in medical so much so that 98% of our business is completely dedicated to the medical industry. So Prent is a little different in the sense of vertical integration. So we are extremely vertically integrated. We do have our 4 big pillars that showcase our vertical integration, which is our first is is in-house design team. So our design team, they use their expertise to fully create a design concept from the ground up for our customers' specifications. Our second is our in-house tool build. So we actually build the tools that end up forming out those parts for our customers. So we CNC and mill out aluminum blocks essentially to create a mold and a plug assist. So that's a
Taylor, I'm going to interrupt you a second because most of these people have never been in a factory. They have no idea. So could you, and I find it fascinating. Could you explain to them what a thermoformer is and
absolutely.
and ultimately what your product does?
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
Yes. And we do have a video that we're going to show at the end of
Oh,
this
great.
slide, just
Wonderful.
showcase everything to further explain it. But yes, I'm aware that most of you probably have no idea what thermoforming is, and I was in the same spot right about a little over a year ago. So thermoforming is essentially the process of forming out parts. We're heating up the material that we get from our suppliers like Goex, and forming those out with the use of that mold and plug assist that I mentioned, and producing those end results, which is the finalized packaged product.
And you're creating the package for those products? For
Absolutely.
medical products. So ultimately, the thermoforming. So if you could give them an example of something that they would see in a store that would be similar.
So in a store, we don't really do consumer packaging.
No, but if they, so they know,
for-
understand what you're talking about for a
Yes.
package.
Okay.
Yep. So a lot of what we'll do, what you'll see in a store, one of the companies that I work with closely, if you've ever used the Navage system for your nose, those saltwater pods that go in there, we form those out. So we do some consumer applications. Most of what we do, you'll see in an operating room or a hospital, just because our packaging is very rigid. It's very can withstand a lot. So you'll see that more in a surgical application as opposed to in a consumer store. So there are some within consumer stores. That 2% that it isn't custom medical is some more stuff that you'll see in stores and in packaging for cell phones and different things like microchips as well. So it's some stuff that doesn't necessarily touch the consumer hands. It's more inside of a hospital, inside of an operating room, things like that. But we do have some products that you'll see.
But that's the concept. It's like a package hanging on a peg in a store with that hard plastic. It might be behind a case because it's really expensive, so it protects the item well. And that's what you do on the medical side with the things they use, mostly in an operating room or in a medical situation.
Yeah, correct. So we're not technically a medical device manufacturer. We're a secondary manufacturer. We manufacture the plastic. So you'll see up there it says ISO 13485. Does anyone know what that is? Probably not. That's okay. We learned that about our third day on the job. So that's just a certification for medical device saying that we operate in full clean environments. So if you walked into our manufacturing floor, it's not a factory that you would think it is where there's dirt and grime flying around everywhere. Everything is spotless. We operate fully clean environment. You gown up, you put everything on to make sure that there's no contaminants within the devices or the packages that go for the devices. Just because if we have any contaminants, then we can't sell our product to customers.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you, Tyler.
And there's a video. Yeah, there's a video on that link that'll show you more about the thermoforming process.
YouTube.
So kind of what you see here is that is the tooling pushing out and forming out the melted plastic. So kind of the process that it goes through is it starts in what's called roll stock, which we get from our sister company Goex as well as other suppliers, which is just kind of this huge 2,000-pound roll of plastic that we roll out, rolls through an oven that's about 950 degrees Fahrenheit, heats the plastic up to anywhere from like 200 to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And then it goes into our aluminum tooling, which we mill in-house and has both positive and negative pressure to form that plastic into the finished good you see there, and then it's die cut from a metal die that comes down into being robot picked and inspected from there into the package. So not super flashy, not super interesting, I can assume, but it is something that's really cool to see our manufacturing floor run. especially with the nature of the business that we do. So that's kind of an overview of the thermoforming process.
And your products are not like, Rubbermaid on the shelf or Glad containers. I mean, they are specialized specifically for those products that you're selling. So designed and handled for, yep, absolutely. Very
Yep.
cool.
So Andy, you can kind of just click through here. So this is going to go through all of our locations. We'll start here on the left side with like North America. So we're headquartered out of Janesville, Wisconsin. We actually have 3 buildings in Janesville. One is our like global headquarters, kind of our center for best practice here in the North American region. We also have our machine build facility that builds all of our machines as a part of our vertical integration, as well as a secondary operations that kind of does any offline things that don't fall into the thermoforming process. We also have greenfield manufacturing facilities in Flagstaff, Arizona, Baja, Tijuana, Mexico, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Denmark, Shanghai, China, and Johor, Malaysia. So we're pretty much all over the world. We want to be where the action is. So if you keep clicking through there, these blue stars that show up are what we consider clusters of medical devices. So that's where the medical device manufacturers are. With our product, when you ship it, there's nothing in it. It's really light. You're shipping a lot of air. I could probably lift a pallet up with a full skid and it would be pretty light. So we want to be in the backyard so that we can follow our sustainability initiatives as well as meet the needs of our customers so that we can be flexible for them. As far as kind of opportunities, we are actively hiring a territory sales rep right now. So if there's any seniors who are graduating here in December, or even any seniors looking to graduate in the spring, feel free to stop up and talk to Taylor and I afterwards. Any juniors, we are working on an internship program as well, kind of putting that together. So if you guys are interested or just really want to learn more about the thermoforming process and the world of plastic, please feel free to stop up and talk to us afterwards.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you. Very nice job. Okay. So we also have Jay Jensen from Goex, as you heard, is a sister company to Prent. So Jay, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Jay Jensen, I'm Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Goex. I graduated last semester from Whitewater.
Yep. It was in my class.
I did graduate from Whitewater, but it wasn't last semester. So as Dan mentioned, we are a sister company to Goex Corporation. What that means, to Prent, we have common ownership. So the same family owns both companies. We are actually kind of the raw material supplier into their process. So we were vertically integrated, one company at one point, and then they saw that there's other opportunities in the marketplace. We branched off in 1990. So we've been a standalone company since 32 years, I guess, from this point. So we do have 2 production facilities, one in Janesville, Wisconsin, one in Cedar City, Utah. We built the one in Cedar City, Utah to be able to service more of the West Coast customer base of ours from a logistic cost standpoint. And then there's a lot more medical device packaging going on in Southern California, Baja, Tijuana, Mexico area. So it's just an easier path to get down to that area and service that market. Everything we do is made from greenfield. And what we do is we extrude high quality, rigid plastic, engineered plastic sheet. So that's a fancy way of saying we take resin, plastic resin, we send it through our process and it comes out as roll stock sheet. Okay. And then it goes on to their process and others like them to thermoform. So we service primarily 3 markets. So medical device packaging, which Tyler and Taylor mentioned. We also do a lot in food packaging market. So you go into the delis and the bakeries, you're going to see a lot of the plastic packaging in those areas as well, the clear package. A lot of that comes out of Goex. If you walk down the aisles in the frozen areas, some of that. Going to Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, you see the dipping sauce cups. A lot of those come out of Goex, the plastic for that. As well as in the refrigerated section, the dairy section, Dannon yogurt cups, all those come out of Goex as well. So we supply all the raw materials into those markets to then form into cups and so forth into the different areas. Our third market segment is graphics or promotional areas. So one big area that is always interesting to people is all the plant stakes. You go to Home Depot and you buy a plant and the little stakes that are in the dirt to signify what it is. We'll probably sell 10 million pounds of plastic this year just for plant stakes. So all those small stakes, 10 million pounds. And we're one of a couple different suppliers that sell into that market. So it's a lot of material. One interesting thing about this, I think we can advance the slide, please. One interesting thing about this, the second build point on this is sustainability. So Goex is a consumer of scrap, right? There's scrap, plastic scrap that's generated in every process along the way. We're proud to say that we've got a zero landfill policy. We actually buy more scrap than we generate, and so we can reprocess it back into some of those applications I talked about. Medical packaging, not so much, because if you think of a operating room, it's got to be sterile. It's got to be sterile back to their process. It's got to be sterile back to our process. So highly regulated. But in other areas like plant stakes and promotional signs and gift cards, which we extrude, we can find a use for some of that scrap and then put it to good use in other areas. So it's the right thing to do. So our primary business focus is quality, consistency, sustainability I talked about, innovation. If in this market, we are ultimately a commodity, and so we need to generate different product types to differentiate ourselves from others. So without that, you're selling on price and it's a race to the bottom. So that's not our business. We don't want to be a low-cost leader. That's not how we sell. We want to sell on value and some of the things that we can bring to customers and be their supplier for 20 plus years. So that's how we set ourselves up from the beginning. Both companies, strong reinvestment in the facilities, the equipment, the people. So there's a lot of training that goes on. You saw in some of the video that Prent showed, nothing's done cut rate. Everything is high quality, and want to make sure that we're doing the right things for the markets. And again, just bring the value in order to be the customer or the supplier for the long term. So, questions?
Well, we'll have quite a few more questions. Well, if there was somebody who had a direct question.
It depends. So there's certain things we can do, some additives that we can put into as well. So ultimately, if it does not go through the right recycling processes, and for heaven forbid it winds up in a landfill, let's say, we can add some additives to it that'll help speed up that process to break it down, so it can turn it from a long time into a short amount of time. So, yep.
Okay, very good. That's a good question. All right, and then we have Ashley Wolshinsky from Henry Schein, and yeah, if you could tell us about Henry Schein.
Absolutely. So my slides, Andy, did not make it to you, so I apologize. But I have some information that I'll share today. So thanks for having me here. And Henry Schein. So we are the world's largest distributor in the dental and medical space. So I'm on the dental side of our business, and I'm part of our talent acquisition team. So we partner up with Whitewater and are so fortunate for that to identify sales talent, because wherever there are dental offices, we need sales reps. So when picture going to the dentist, and anything and everything outside of the magazines on the tables, they have to purchase from someone. So we hold the largest market share in the dental space, and we are hoping that they partner with us as their distributors. So dentists, they go to school to learn how to practice dentistry. They graduate in about $400,000 in debt. They've taken a couple econ classes, probably slept through them most likely, and they want to practice dentistry. So we arm our sales reps really with the ability to partner with them, focusing on the practice side of their business to be able to provide consumables, merchandise, equipment, technology, all of the solutions they need to be able to provide the best patient care possible. So Henry Schein, we've been in business for 90 years. We are a Fortune 500 company. We are named Fortune's most admired companies for 21 straight years, and for 9 consecutive years, we are one of the world's most ethical companies. And I think when you're in the medical space, it's easy to cut corners, and we are not willing to do that. So I think it's the people, our culture, and our business that definitely sets us apart. And we have 1 million plus customers worldwide. We have over 300,000 products. And I think outside of Amazon, we are UPS's number 2 customer in the world. So we are shipping products every day. Our dental headquarters are in West Dallas, Wisconsin, and then our global headquarters are in Melville, New York. And then we have distribution centers across the country as well, but always looking for sales talent. So we'll be on campus throughout the course of the year, looking for outside sales reps to add to our teams. Whether you want to stay in Wisconsin, perhaps, head to the West Coast, East Coast. stay in the Midwest, wherever those needs are. We look to your students to fill those. And then we also have internship opportunities that we will also be recruiting for throughout the course of the year. Our 10-week program that takes place starting in June, and it really is a true look into the business side of our world to see if dental is something you could see yourself being passionate about, selling those business solutions, and then exposing you to outside sales, real world experience. And it's amazing the feedback we get. We usually have a Whitewater intern each year for Wisconsin. Madison Nesgoda was our intern last summer, and she rocked it. She was incredible. And I think just how you grow as an individual with that experience is great. So, we're excited again to be here throughout the course of the year. And I think
That's great. Thank you very much. Yeah, you have to turn it down. Thank you. And you heard people here mentioning internships, and I tell you what, if you can latch on to an internship during the school year in the summer, you could get those credits for it, if you sign up, and it's a wonderful experience. And one of the nice things about an internship is it's a trial run. They're interested in you, you're interested in them, and it's an opportunity to see if it really is truly a good fit. And I think it's well worth it, and wish there was more of them back in my day. But there are a whole lot now. So pay attention to that and talk to these people about it. Don't forget when we're done to come up and talk to them if you're at all interested. So I'm going to ask some questions, but first of all, a couple of you mentioned. So Brooke, what is your company's value proposition? You got two different companies. You got Diversatek and you got Sunlight. What's the value proposition? Why do people buy from you?
Yeah, so as you probably noticed through just explaining who we are, we're GI focused. And so we're not looking to supply to every medical need. We really focus in. And so we have this niche area that we try to do really, really well. And so that's one area that, when we're coming up against the Boston Scientifics of the world, the Medtronics, like this is one area that we focus in on, and we don't lose sight of it. We also pride ourselves on our customer support. We have live customer support folks here in Milwaukee, Denver, throughout the US, really supporting. And they can get real-time communication to whether that be sales reps, whether that be direct to manufacturing. And so we really pride ourselves on being able to respond quickly to our market needs as well.
Great, wonderful, thank you. Ashley, I'm going to ask you, why do people buy from Henry Schein? And you mentioned a little bit, but.
I think people buy from Henry Schein. Well, first off, as the largest distributor, and we are evolving all the time. So the technology in our space, the manufacturing partners that we have relationships with, we definitely respect them. We have great relationships with them, and we are constantly at the forefront as you look at dentistry. And gosh, I think to myself, when I had braces back in the day, I had these like gooey gummy trays and the impressions that they had to take, and it was the most disgusting thing. And then fast forward, years later, I take my daughter to the orthodontist and she gets braces, and literally they scan her mouth, and it's like, I'm like, what is happening here? And it's truly amazing. But I think as our industry evolves, in that space, I think the value that we're adding, not only from being experts in the industry and having those partnerships as a distributor, but also the operations side of our business. And we have technicians where if a dental office, a chair goes down, we certainly don't want the doctor to lose production. So, within the hour or two, we have a technician coming in to fix that problem. So I think we definitely have the support around what we're selling.
That's amazing service. That's awesome. So Jay, we know why Prent buys from you.
Because they supply high quality products.
From us,
Yeah,
though, right?
But what about everybody else?
Yeah, so we're known for quality, but not just quality, but consistent quality over a long period of time. It's a foundation. If we're not consistent, we're going to be a short-term supplier. So quality, consistency, service, we differentiate ourselves from the service standpoint, as well as innovation. So we talked a little bit about developing materials and unique products. If we're not getting ahead of the trends, you're not growing, you're dying, kind of thing. So the other part is the reinvestment in the company. There's a lot of companies in our space that are private equity ownership. And so every few years they change hands. And it's been a competitive advantage for us because we've got consistent ownership with a long-term plan and vision. And so we're able to follow that track and then plan for the long term rather than what's coming next quarter. So a lot of those things play into how we're known in the market and how we're continuing to grow pretty rapidly.
Okay, and Taylor and Tyler, I did remember you. I mean, that's not an issue. I just kept forgetting and saying Goex instead of Prent. But anyway, who wants to answer that question?
Holy cow, sorry about that.
Oh, sorry.
So looking at Prent, and we're very similar to Goex with the reinvestment in people, our facilities, and just our overall process. So our owner is very proud of that. He was started out with, when his father started the company, as an engineer designing the packaging, so he knows how to start. A lot of what we sell is a product that many people can make. The product that we sell is not going to be much different than our competitors. We have a lot of innovations, we have a lot of opportunities with Goex, but we're ultimately selling a service. So our goal is to be an extension of our customer. We want to work with them from point A all the way through every point down the road to get to point Z. We're with them from the beginning of the process to the end, which is great. So we're selling our company as a whole and the services that we offer in terms of that custom, and also working with them to make sure that they have everything that they need along the way. So that's kind of why people buy from us. We do also have a lot of innovative services that we partner with Goex specifically for in materials, and I won't bore you on plastic and different materials, but we work with our suppliers, and we're also very sustainable, but we are ultimately selling a service over as well selling the products.
Pretty dynamic industry, right? Okay, all right. Well, I want to ask a question because we have a lot of marketing students here, digital research and so on. And I wanted to ask you, what is, we'll talk about sales later, but besides sales, what are some of the things that your company does to market their products? And Jay, I'll let you go first.
As far as the marketing goes, we do a lot of, social media to some extent. But our business, you have represented a lot of different steps in the supply chain here, right? So,
right.
So we kind of start, then on to them for the packaging, and then on to Schein for the end product for consumers.
Right.
But from our side, we do a lot of social media, as well as we'll do some trade shows, outreach. Obviously, through the sales effort. We don't do a lot of national media, obviously, because that's not our customer base. So it's very targeted. We'll try and do some, we don't do a lot, quite honestly, through Instagram and
No.
things like that, because right. It's just not the medium that works best for us. But I think overriding what we want to accomplish is to see that the buyers that are pertain to us are seeing our name in this space most often, and if that's who online trade publications or things like that. That's kind of been the best effort so far. So
you mentioned online trade publications. I don't think a lot of the students realize there's more trade publications out there than there are consumer publications.
Yeah. Yep.
Just about every trade has multiple publications.
Yeah. The trick is to find the ones that are the best spend, or
exactly
avoid the ones that are the worst spend.
Right.
So that's what you can spend your money on.
Exactly. Okay. Well, Brooke and Amanda, what about your company? What about Diversatek and Sunlight? What other marketing efforts does your company do?
So Diversatek Healthcare specifically, much to the same that Goex was speaking, we're publishing in trade publications. Being that we answer to the FDA, we have to be very careful about our messaging in any way. you know, whether that's email, whether that's on our website, whether it's on any of our social media pages, anything linked to our product. Very careful messaging. So trade shows where it's targeted, right? We know who or what type of people will be attending. We also do a fair amount of clinical education. We seek out key opinion leaders in the GI space to help be, you know, thought leaders in the given area. We do training, get clinicians in. That's a really nice way to pay it forward, but then also to kind of network and talk more about our product.
Great, thank you. And Ashley? Well, actually, let me ask Prent here. Okay. Taylor or Tyler, either one. And then I'll get Ashley, since you're kind of the end of the chain selling it.
All right. So being B2B, the main points of marketing that we really partake in are trade shows. I mean, we have a lot of trade shows throughout the year that we attend, get a lot of good leads from that, see current customers even. We also do publications and we do newsletters as well, the typical B2B marketing stuff. But something fun that Prent does is we actually produce a bunch of thermoform trays long before Christmas time, and we put Christmas ornaments in them. So we send those out to our customers as well as prospects, and that's really a fun way to market Prent and show off our innovation and our quality packaging. So.
And Ashley, and so as we talked about, you are distributing the products that they make and package. And how do you, besides your sales force, how do you market to your customers?
So I think we do a lot of the above in terms of what was mentioned. One thing I think that we do a really great job of is our mission is really doing well by doing good. So we have a lot of programs where we can give back to our local communities, as well as, you know, really making a difference in the world. So throughout the year, we have Give Kids a Smile, and these are events that are held in Wisconsin. It would be held at Miller Park, which is not Miller Park anymore. It's AmFam Field, where we would bring all of the supplies. We would have our partnering doctors that we work with come and give their time. We have technology and equipment that we will also bring. And we are seeing thousands of patients that, unlike us, that are so fortunate to go get our teeth cleaned every 6 months. These are patients that individuals within their communities that this is the one time they go to the dentist every year. So I think we do a very good job of giving back in those ways. And I think that's one thing, you know, that really is important to us, that doing well by doing good. And when our customers are winning, you know, we're winning, certainly.
That's awesome. So I heard a lot about, you know, trade shows, trade publications, and that's something I want you to be aware of. And Brooke, you said they also do trade shows, right? Okay.
Yep.
So can you just tell the students here, what's the advantage of a trade show? Because
Well,
most
for
of them have probably
us-
never been in one. Can I see hands? How many have ever been to a trade show? Yeah, maybe 10? So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so for us, well, for one, to attend a trade show, it's an investment. The company's making an investment to be a part of a given trade show. You know, ours are usually, they're centered around like clinician-supported trade shows or disease or a particular medical focus. And with that, there's generally a list of attendees who are going to be at these trade shows. And so that's valuable, right? You know, who's going to be coming. While there may be some fall off, you still have that information that you can use post trade show. And then you have the opportunity to set up a booth to showcase your products. You can bring product marketing material to share with clinicians and have conversations in a less pressured environment. Folks are generally there because they want to be there, because they want to learn. And from our standpoint, it generally is a little bit more relaxed setting to speak with customers.
Okay, good. Thank you. So what are some of the, I'm going to ask the panel here. So what are some of the, in the health industry, what are some of the specific challenges that you face that make it so different? And Brooke mentioned some of the regulations as far as even what you can say and what you can do. But any other comments that you can add to that, Jay?
Yeah, primarily the biggest challenge is the regulatory challenges. So it's very strict. The medical industry is extremely risk averse, which for good reason, obviously. But so what that means to us, though, as we're looking at new applications or new customers, it's hard to get in. But if you've done the right things along the way and you're able to get in, it's also hard to get out as long as you continue to do the right things. So it's a long process from our standpoint in our industry to go through the qualifications and all the testing that's involved and so forth. Once you get to that point, you're rewarded by continuing to do the right things for a long period of time, though. So the time and the regulations.
Great, thank you. And I'll get to the others on this, but Brooke, I know you're going to have to go pretty soon. So I do want to ask a question for you is, can you tell me a little bit about your opportunity for students that are graduating or internship, and what does a day in the life or week look like for new hires and interns?
Yeah, so for the internship, located here in our headquarters in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 8 to 10 weeks, Monday through Friday, general business hours, and you're calling into our customers. It's warm calling. We know who all of the hospitals, surgery centers, you name it, we have those in our CRM. So we have a select product list that interns focus in on. We get you up and running pretty quickly. There's training that will go on before you, I guess, technically come on board. So you get a little advanced kickoff with your studying, but then we hit the ground rolling pretty quickly. And ultimately, you're impacting the bottom line. They're selling. It's a very welcoming kind of team environment, whether you're kind of working with some of our hybrid sales reps, more of our customer support folks, or the outside field sales reps. And
You
then as
mentioned
far as
hybrid sales reps. I'm sorry, but what
Yeah.
do you mean by hybrid?
Yeah, good question. So that translates really well into our full-time opportunities for new college grads. We call it our associate sales rep position. And generally you're based here in our office in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but you have a multi-state territory. So you're making calls, and then you also have the opportunity roughly about once every month to travel to a given state within your territory. Again, you're responsible from the sale to the beginning to the end. Again, warm calling, no cold calling, because we know who our customers are, but certainly identifying that you're talking to the qualified decision maker. And that's Monday through Friday, standard business hours, et cetera.
Great. Well, Brooke, thank you for joining us.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it a whole lot. And you have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so to come back to one of those questions there is so Jay mentioned about some of the challenges that you run into. I'm assuming there's some similarities, but are there any other challenges that you run into at all?
Yeah, so Jay did touch on this a little bit, but on the Prent end, as he mentioned, it is a very long process. Being in the medical industry, there is a lot of regulations you have to comply with. And when it comes time, when we are talking with customers and they might want to potentially change something with their packaging concept or the material they're using, that takes a very long time to revalidate for them. That is, it can cause, it can add that extended amount of time, whatever that may be. So everything is very prolonged. But also from the Prent standpoint, specifically being in our sales roles, there's a lot of communication that you have with your customer as well as your internal team and all of the different departments. So when you're trying to expedite a certain order, if a customer requests parts sooner than they had originally, we need to be conscious of, our our coworkers' time as well, making sure that we're still able to get everything to our customer when we promise it, and even before, best case scenario, while still respecting the time of our coworkers as well. So that's another challenge that I've seen.
Okay. All right. Ashley?
So I talked to a couple of our sales reps before coming here about some of these questions. And so I just want to share some of the things that they shared with me. So obviously healthcare sales, dental and medical, they said constantly changing. So a lot of factors that play into this when it comes to healthcare is the technology, insurance, new procedures, as they mentioned, laws and regulations, mergers and acquisitions, new ways to communicate with patients. And I think also too, importantly, is the customer base is changing. It's becoming a lot more diverse. So there are a lot more females, diverse graduates from dental and medical schools now more than ever before, which is so exciting. And every day is different. So becoming adaptable to not only your customers or in this case, your doctor's needs, but also our patients is really critical. It's an industry that isn't going anywhere, which is exciting. So there always will be a need for healthcare at the same time.
There'll be even more as we age here. All right, so marketing is all about building relationships with customers. So, we talked a little bit about how you market, acquire. Some of you have a lot of repeat customers. I think you all do, actually. So how do you build those relationships with those customers? How do you go about building a strong customer relationship? The bottom line. So, Tyler?
Yeah, so looking at from our standpoint, we build a solid customer relationship by delivering on quality and also just being available to our customers. A lot of times when we're working with our customers, it's, hey, this is something that came up quick out of nowhere. What can you do on your end to make sure things go correctly? So it's a lot of communication, a lot of just relationship building. Price is obviously a huge thing nowadays with everything that you look at, and a lot of times building that relationship can supersede price. So it's all about just communicating well, being there for your customers and just being visible. With our roles, we're on the road 50% of the year. So it's being visible, building those relationships, being at your customers and just showing that you care and always being kind of on top of things and staying organized. So just kind of being there for your customers and providing more than just a piece of plastic that goes into their packaging. Being their support, being there with them every step of the way. So that's kind of how we build our relationships with our customers.
Because we do travel so much to see our customers, that provides us ample opportunity to take them out to dinner, take them to a sporting event, and get out of that more professional setting and furthermore build that relationship. So that's really a great way to build relationships with our customers as well.
Jay, you mentioned all the locations and everything else. Well, you have 2 locations there, but you have customers all over, and I know Prent does. How do you build the relationships with your customers?
Yeah, a lot of it's an outside sales effort, like they're mentioning, being consistent, showing up and being prepared, but showing up consistently, and then also being dependable. So there's a lot of sales reps, unfortunately, in the industry that you'll see that will come through and the follow-up's not there. Well, that's not a dependable supplier, and that's the one who's going to get left behind. So being dependable, being consistent, and then also doing the things that you say you're going to do, not over-promising. So if someone says, can you ship it Thursday? You better check. You don't just say yes. And if you don't know, say, I don't know, and then follow up. So the follow-up is critically important.
Ashley?
I'm going to say, listen, listen, and listen. So we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? So we want to use that appropriately. We teach that a very consultative selling approach. So having those discovering meetings and asking these doctors questions. And if we think about it, every minute that they're meeting with us, that's time spent away from their patients. So our reps need to make sure that they're prepared going into those meetings and respecting the time of the doctor. So doing your research ahead of time. And lastly, be genuine. I think when you are truly genuine, your customers see that. When you're not, they see through it.
We have a question from online, and the question is, do your careers have flexibility? And I'll leave that to interpretation. So, we'll start with you, Ashley, this time.
Definitely. I think the field sales consultant position at Henry Schein, it is truly a great gig. I think, sales is what you put into it, you're going to get out of it. But I think when you work hard out of the gates, you're building these relationships. You have this residual income because if you think about it, these offices, they have to order from us on a monthly basis. If, they don't purchase what we're selling, they can't run their practice. So, but I think going along with that is you can work around the clock as a field sales consultant. So it's working smarter, not harder, and having that work-life balance. And I think our positions specifically do give you that. I know coming from our executive level from top to bottom, it's family first, external customers second, and internal customers third. I feel like now that we're working from home, and I don't know what you guys are experiencing, but I feel like the work-life balance in some cases has kind of gone to a whole new level. So sometimes responses that I'm used to getting from somebody I have a question about that's gonna, help me do my job, it's taking a little bit longer. So I think all companies are probably struggling with that because we're working from home, right? And there's more distractions than when you're in the office, but for the most part, I think balancing that, is key. And then obviously we use Salesforce as our CRM. So that's going to house everything you need to know, for the next appointment. So utilizing those resources effectively.
All right, good. And Jay, you may have some people working from home, but I would say by and large, being a manufacturer.
Yeah, a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are remote reps.
Okay.
There are reps that come in the office
Sure.
primarily, but from the flexibility side, I think in any sales role, most sales roles, once you establish your territory and the customers and prospects in the territory, you get to determine, in most cases, how often they need to be seen. So you're going to understand pretty quickly, I need to see XYZ company once a month, where I need to see ABC company once a year. And then you set your rotations around that. And like Taylor mentioned, you also have the flexibility to entertainment budgets and things like that. So you're developing relationships. The key is they want to be happy to see you. And so you figure out a way to do that so that you can grow the business and grow responsibly.
Okay, very good. And for Prent,
So we are very similar to Goex, being from the family ownership. Being in that family atmosphere is awesome. As Ashley mentioned, family first is kind of one of their mottos as well. That's something that we focus on at Prent and as well as at Goex. We have that family ownership. Looking at our positions and flexibility wise, our process is very in-depth, very hands-on. So looking at like from a hybrid work schedule, we're set up to be where about the first 6 months to a year you are in the office out of our Janesville headquarters, just so that you can get a face to a name with everyone that you're working with and understand the process fully. Is one thing I forgot to mention with growing relationships is understanding the process and knowing what you're talking about. In the medical device world, if you don't know what you're talking about, people are going to see right through you. So that's a huge thing. But then once you get past kind of that mark, working remote, we have sales reps who live in their territories. It's easier. They can be at their customers' doors within the hour. If something goes wrong or if a customer has a question, having that flexibility. We determine our own travel schedules, as Jay mentioned. So you find out who your customers are that want to be seen, and you get to travel, which is awesome. I mean, I love going places. It's a lot of fun being out on the road and just enjoying life and having that work-life balance on the road. It's not like where you're flying out Monday morning at 7 a.m. And getting back home Friday night at 8 o'clock. We do have a 50% travel schedule, but that's 2 days a week, 26 weeks out of the year. So having that flexibility is very nice. And you can maybe even plan some vacations around that as well.
okay, good. Taylor, what's a day in the life of a Prent sales rep or any new person at Prent? Marketing, whatever. What does that look like?
So specifically for new sales reps.
Yeah,
that-
new hires, trainees.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of communication between different departments at Prent. So the very first training process is you learning every step of our art to part process, which translates through each department. So it's a very in-depth training program, and you learn a lot throughout that. I mean, as I mentioned, Tyler and I were doing that while we were finishing our college degree. But That's the first part of it. But really what Prent wants is you to fully understand the entire process, and that comes with doing a lot of job shadowing. So we get new sales reps out on a lot of trips, getting to know different sales reps' processes, getting to know their approach and how they handle certain meetings with their customers. And on the other aspect, seeing other sales reps and their different ways of handling things. So that's really where you do get to see a lot of what you'll be doing very shortly. So that's kind of what it looks like.
All
Yeah.
right, good. Jay, is it similar at Goex, or what do you do there?
Similar, I think, you know, in this role, it's a lot of planning. So looking ahead a month and finding out what customers you want to see, setting those appointments, going out and making the relationships and seeing them, and then whatever applications or projects that you're able to attain while you're out on the road, bring that back and then work those in the office. So there's a balance, but back to the last question on flexibility.
Yeah.
Every day in the office, when you come in with a plan, you need to be flexible because that plan is going to change
Right.
almost every day. So you need to be able to shift and then just go with it, because there's things that come up that need your attention, and then you just balance it from there. So
I will share this. I spent a career 38 years in sales, and I always said I was every emotion under the sun except for bored. Never got bored. So, Ashley?
So at Henry Schein, we actually kind of revamped our training, because we used to have every rep, probably 30 to 40 at a time, come to our dental headquarters, spend 2.5 weeks in our office. We put them up in hotels. They had dinners and trainings. But one thing we kind of realized after getting feedback, even from new hires that we would check in with, that were actually interns with us and then started with us full time, and all that exposure they received was Henry Schein. We are such a large organization, and we have so many layers of support within that are there for a sales rep. So we have an inside team and a telesales team that are our reps that truly support our outside sales reps. So to navigate through all of that, we thought was very important. So when a new rep starts, they spend 3 months in an ongoing training before they even spend any time calling on their customer list. So they're watching modules, they're learning about the anatomy of the mouth, they're shadowing a dentist, they're co-traveling with colleagues, they are getting product training, but it is very interactive. Some of it's virtual, some of it's in person at their local centers, but exposing you to as much of our industry as we can. There's role plays, talking about how to conduct discovery meetings. So a lot of that goes into that. And then once you're done with that 3-month training, you are partnered with a mentor, and then you have touch base points with our training team over the course of your first year. So definitely ongoing training, but at that point in time is when you would, get in your car and start calling on your offices. And Madison can speak to this, but it's a different world. You have the autonomy to truly manage your day. You're not going in the offices that you're going into physically every day are your customers, right? So you're assigned anywhere from 200 to 250 accounts, cycling through those, probably 12 office visits a day. So cycling through that account list every 2 to 3 weeks. And then just building those relationships from there.
So what I'm hearing from everybody, including Brooke, is these companies provide an awful lot of training and support and mentoring. I mean, you aren't just thrown into the breach, and I'm assuming that goes for almost all the positions that you have. It's not just sales. And that's what you as new graduates and students looking for internships should be looking at. Are people going to train you? Because you come out of here, there's a whole new level when you get into the technicalities and the fine details about it. I have, just very briefly from each of you, I'd like to know, the students would like to know, what advice do you have for a student that's graduating from college
I'm going to
as they
say,
prepare for their career?
yes. So when you are interviewing, what you said, Dan, made me think of this. Ask about their training program, especially, with somewhat of this new virtual world. It's important for you to know your first job out of college is really the foundation of this next chapter, right? So it's important that you are set up to be successful. So truly want to understand what that training looks like and ask those questions. And if you're interviewing with companies and they don't have straight answers for you, ask that next step that you're interviewing with, but maybe, it might not be the right fit if you're not getting the training, because that's important.
Thank you. Jay, what about you? What advice do you
I
have?
agree with the training aspect of it. Also, a big one is, do you click with your manager? So understand who your manager is. Can you relate to him or her? If there's some red flags that come up, go with your gut, because there's a lot of application or a lot of positions that are out there. That's a big one, because your manager is going to be your primary touch point from the beginning. And although you'll get, other peers within the company that'll help train you, your manager is going to be the one that's going to help move you forward, sideways, everything else in the company. So that's a big one to make sure you vet it out. Also, I think the last thing is be open-minded when you're looking at different jobs and different positions in different industries, because you may say today, for this panel, I want to be in medical. I want to be in medical. Don't discount other industries, because there are other things that are interesting that you may like the job as well or better, although it may be similar, I guess, job functions, but the industry may be more attractive to you in the long run. So keep an open mind.
Thank you. Great advice. Taylor, I'll ask you this question. Recent grad, we're running out of time, so be succinct, but with the two of you just graduating, what would you recommend?
Yes. So what Jay did say, when looking for a job, having a relationship with your manager and actually having a good fit with them and their mentor style, that is super important. I probably ask my manager 100 questions plus a day. So you interact a lot with them. You are learning from them. They are the person in charge of you. They're your boss. So, well, you're always in charge of yourself, but anyway, that's super important. However, putting yourself out there, networking a ton, and putting yourself in a position to succeed in the future by involvement. Do things that make you uncomfortable sometimes, because that's gonna make you grow. And remember, when you are interviewing, you're interviewing the company just as much as they're interviewing you. It must be a good fit. That's your future you're considering, and it's a huge decision. So that is my advice.
I would just say echo, be open-minded. Also, don't be afraid to take that jump. If it's a company that you feel comfortable with, like, make that jump and just be open-minded and don't stop learning. I mean, you feel like you're going to stop learning the second you walk across the stage and grab your diploma. That's not true in any aspect. I'm sure all of us can echo that. Every day you're learning something new, and just be open-minded and don't stop learning.
In your case, you made a big switch and you took that risk and you made a jump. Happy?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay. Ashley has one quick thing.
Add one last thing. Give yourself grace. You guys are going from big bad seniors to almost kindergartners again when you're starting in your first job. So in this world of, gosh, Amazon, Uber Eats, instant gratification, just be patient. And when you make mistakes, those mistakes are going to just make you grow. So you're all going to be amazing. And you should be so grateful. One last thing to add is just students of Whitewater in this sales program. My gosh, it's amazing just to see on LinkedIn the success that students have that come out of this university. So you should be so happy about where you are, and you guys are going to be amazing.
Well, first of all, right before we give them a huge round of applause, because we will, they're here to talk to you. If you have any interest, please come on down. I think also on the form, you got the QR code here, and on the form it asks you if you're interested in having to talk to any of these people. So please fill that out. And how about a big round of applause for all of them? Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
So again, if you're here for a class, make sure you sign out. If you only scan at the beginning and you don't scan now, you will not get that information relayed to the class. And if you're here just for AMA or for any other reason, scan it too and fill it out. Bonus points for AMA. So fill this out. So if you've not scanned it, scan it, we'll keep it up. But please come up and visit with these guests, network. You never know whether it's your first career or internship or somewhere down the line. So please do come and visit with them. Yes, lots of other things. So again, thank you for coming. I don't know, Addison and Avery, do you have any other things to just quickly wrap up?
We'll go back to this, but next week we are doing a little AMA trivia because I know we've been throwing a lot of information at you guys so you can kind of test how well that's been sitting with you. And then we're going to have some pizza here for everybody. So make sure to make an appearance. And then, of course, every week, here's our contact information. Take a picture if you don't already have it. And this is up every week, but our digital room changed. So if you're interested in attending a digital marketing meeting, note the room number is different.
So yeah, take a picture of that if you haven't yet. It's now in 2309, but that is all we have for you guys tonight. Thank you guys so much again for coming, and we will see you next week. Have a great night. Come and talk to the partners if you're interested.